Hej och varmt välkomna till lanseringen Among the Living av konstnären Jonas Lund. Ett tillfälligt och digitalt konstverk beställt av Akademiska Hus och Statens konstråd inom vår samverkan. Mitt namn är Lotta Mossum och jag är konstnärschef på Statens konstråd.
Och jag heter Marcus Ranken och är till vardags strategisk fastighetsutvecklare med bas i Stockholm. Men jag är också bolagsansvarig för vår befintliga konst och vår nya konst på Akademiska Hus.
Och jag kommer att inleda med att säga någonting väldigt kort om Statens konstråd, som är en statlig myndighet som bildades 1937 med syftet att göra konst tillgänglig för alla, oavsett bakgrund, ekonomiska förutsättningar eller var man bor i landet. Ett viktigt uppdrag var också att ge konstnärer arbetstillfällen när staten bygger den så kallade 1%-regeln som vid den här tiden etablerades inte bara i Sverige utan också i många västländer. Och uppdraget idag är ungefär detsamma. Vi främjar svensk konstliv genom att ge konstnärer möjlighet att göra konstnärliga gestaltningar, både permanenta och tillfälliga som det här verket. Men vi köper också in färdiga verk av levande konstnärer i svensk konstliv och har en konstkollektion med över 100 000 konstverk som kureras och görs till olika kollektioner som sätts upp på olika platser på myndigheter runt om i Sverige. Och det här innebär ju att vi alla kan möta väldigt många olika konstnärliga uttryck och på väldigt många olika platser. Men en sak som är väldigt viktig att säga är att vi skulle inte kunna göra det här alls om det inte vore för all den samverkan vi har med statliga fastighetsägarbolag som Akademiska Hus, men konstnärerna förstås, med alla brukarna och verksamheter som ni som många av er sitter här. Men också i samarbete med kommuner och regioner runt om i Sverige.
Akademiska bolag som fokuserar på fastigheter för forskning och utbildning runt omkring i Sverige. Och sedan 1993 samverkar vi med er på Statens konstråd kring att tillföra ny samtidskonst till våra campusområden. Och sedan 2019 har vi fördjupat vårt samarbete ytterligare. Särskilt kort om det. Akademiska Hus då förvaltar någonstans kring 750 konstverk idag. Och de är alltså spridda ute runt omkring i Sverige i vardagsmiljöer där forskare och studenter tillbringar sina vardagar helt enkelt. Och då för oss tänker vi att konsten är en vital del av när vi utvecklar våra campus. Ett campus är inte ett campus utan konst. Så konsten har en dimension bortanför dekorativt och annat, utan den är en större del av det hela. Vår tanke är att konsten kan väcka känslor, skapa upplevelser och öppna nya tankebanor. Och då är vi inne liksom på bildningsmiljö kontra utbildningsmiljöer. Något som är intressant under åren nu när vi bygger allt mindre nya byggnader, så vi jobbar inte riktigt enligt den här 1%-regeln längre, för vi har inte det behovet eller funktionen längre. Så att konsten har för våran del börjat bli lite fristående för byggnationsprojekt. Vi gör fortfarande ihop med nybyggnation, ombyggnationer eller utveckling av marken på ett campus för all del. Men vi kan också idag starta konstprojekt bara för konstens egna skull eller att få in den konstnärliga processen i de tidiga skedena och hur vi arbetar med campusutvecklingen helt enkelt.
Precis, och vi tycker att det här är fantastiskt samarbete och att vi just får möjlighet att vara utforskande tillsammans. Det är jätteroligt. Och nu i år så förnyade vi vårt strategiska samarbetsavtal med mottot eller visionen att, nu måste vi kolla, att se världen, skapa världen och främja frihet. Och det här är ju på något sätt för att verkligen stärka konstnärlig frihet, men också akademisk frihet och att se konstens roll i samhället kopplat till yttrandefrihet och mångfald.
Ja, och idag är det lite extra spännande dag för både mig och Lotta. För idag får vi vara med om, vad ska man säga, introduktionen, invigningen av ett nytt verk. Och det här är ju ett tillfälligt verk, det är också spännande. Ett verk som finns hos oss en viss tid, en begränsad tid. Så det gäller att ta del av det under den tiden. Det är ju en liten extra satsning. Vi har rullat igång väldigt tydligt förra året på tillfälliga konstverk. Tillfälliga kan ju vara här och nu, men det kan ju också vara några veckor och i vissa fall kanske under ett par år. De tillfälliga verken tillåter oss som är lite fastighetsbundna att vara lite modigare, våga lite mer, inte ställa för många frågor. Och det är ju spännande, för då kan det dyka upp någonting oväntat och nytt som vi inte kan kontrollera. Och då kan det också dyka upp det här lite oväntade som vi hoppas att våra campusmiljöer ska erbjuda de som är verksamma på dem helt enkelt.
Precis, och idag är det då Among the Living av Jonas Lund som sitter här bakom och snart ska få prata själv. Men jag tänkte bara säga att här hade vi just tanken om ett tillfälligt digitalt verk under byggtiden. För att det här kom fram i projektet med Nya konst, den byggnad som ska samla de olika konstnärliga fakulteten. Och då var vi väldigt nyfikna på hur kan ett tillfälligt och digitalt verk på något sätt samla de här olikheterna hos de olika fakulteten och också vara utforskande. Vi landade i att bjuda in Jonas Lund att göra ett digitalt verk och han kom med ett idéförslag, Among the Living, som också är digitalt, det vill säga det är i molnet, men man kan också ta del av det via 5 skärmar som är utplacerade på de konstnärliga fakulteten nu. Och det är ett konstverk som ställer frågor om våra relationer till AI och också jag kanske låter dig berätta mer om detta. Men en sak som jag verkligen vill understryka är också att det har tagits fram i en process med studenter, vilket vi också ska få höra mer om. Och med det sagt så vill Marcus och jag verkligen tacka alla inblandade, framförallt Jonas Lund här bakom, men också alla de studenter som varit medskapande i processen. Vi vill såklart tacka de konstnärliga fakulteten vid Göteborgs universitet samt våra medarbetare, både på Akademiska hus och Statens konstråd som har varit djupt involverade i detta. Och med de orden tänkte jag lämna över till dig, Henrik Benner, som har också varit med i samrådsgrupperna. Tack.
Tack Lotta. Henrik Benner är då dekan på konstnärliga fakulteten, så att det liksom är någon mening projektägare. Så att jag fick till uppgiften att hälsa er välkomna, men inte minst också hälsa verket välkomna. Vi som är i lokalerna har ju sett de här, de har varit på plats, så att de dök ju inte upp idag. Så det blir väldigt spännande att höra mer om processerna bakom. Man kan ju också påminna om att dels har det varit ett samarbete kring det här tillfälliga verket, men också ett permanent verk som då är tänkt att placeras i konstnärliga, som då invigs 2029. Så att det här var ett sätt att jobba med, vad är vi under vägs gång? Vad är de här frågorna och hur liksom, tidslinjen och så vidare. Så det är otroligt fint att få det här tillfälliga projektet som ett led i den här jättelångsamma processen. Sen tycker jag det är fint att påminna sig om att det här är ju, om man tittar på den här 1%-regeln, det är ett fortfarande levande projekt. Jag tänker det kan vara bra att påminna sig om att det här var ett politiskt projekt från början som har stor påverkan 60, 70, 80, 90 år senare. Så att det finns liksom politik och viljor i detta som är också viktigt att ta hand om och värna och prata om. Så i den andan tänkte jag, egentligen är vi inte intresserade av dig eller mig, utan vi är intresserade av er och den process och det som har pågått och vad som ligger bakom det här verket. Så det ska bli fantastiskt fint att höra. Jag tänker ni får presentera er själva, det gör ni bäst. Så jag lämnar över ordet till er. Shoot!
Tack så jättemycket. Jag heter Björn Norberg och är kurator på Statens konstråd. Jonas och jag träffades tidigt i morse och då så bad Jonas, kan vi inte prata engelska, åtminstone i panelen? För jag känner mig mer bekväm. So I'm going to switch over to English. That's okay.
Also, there's people in the audience who do not understand Swedish.
Okay.
So for all inclusive purposes, we can do either English or German maybe, but my German is terrible. So
Mine is as well.
okay, very good. How's your German?
Nicht gott.
Okay, very good. Thank
So Jonas is the artist.
Mhm.
Shannon, you're a student here. You can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Shannon Fellender Tsai, and I'm a second-year bachelor student in the Fine Arts program at Valand, and I've been a member of the student reference group too, Among the Living.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. And I also should say that I took over the project or was involved in the project more from this summer and on. It's Eddie Muka who's here in the audience who has been the curator during the main part of the production. First of all, I'm a little bit. I know that one of the reasons to build a new school is also to have all the different educations connected and under one roof, and to start and let them to interact in different ways, in a more natural way. And this is also something that has been that you have been working with, and you've been asked to refer to in the piece that is now called Among the Living. So I'm going to let you explain everything about the project soon, but I also want you to start with, maybe you should say something about your practice. Some projects you've been involved in before and what you've been working with so far.
For sure. I mean, I was joking earlier that as we were preparing the panel, that I can easily go on like a 40-minute monologue where just like talk. So in order to also allow you some agency, please, if it gets too wordy, you may just interrupt me and ask questions, because otherwise it just... So anyways, my name is Jonas Lund, and I'm an artist. I've been making work within the same sort of area of research and interest for maybe the last 15 years or so. And I think I position my practice as like I think of myself as like the anti-tech bro. So you have like tech bros in Silicon Valley, like Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, all these like detestable people who move fast and break things and consider nothing else but growth and profit. And I think I move fast and fix things, or move fast and point at things, or move fast and make things visible. Making things visible is like the typical artist's strategy when it comes to this. Just means like revealing the consequences of this like ideology of non-stop growth. Like, what does it mean for our society? What does it mean for our culture when we get influenced and sort of swayed by persuasive technologies like an Instagram feed or a TikTok algorithm, or like layers of automatic decision making that have some murky incentives, or maybe not like the incentives that we want them to have. What do they optimize for? And it's like, and our culture, if we think about what changed in the last 15 years in terms of what happened, how we relate to each other through social media, what social media did to our society, it's like a massive transformation. So, and then that is largely driven by a couple of people in Silicon Valley. And do we really want these people to be the deciders for how our culture adapts and changes in relation to technology? That's somehow the fundamental position in my work, I think. Coming to Among the Living, which started as a studio visit with Lotta like 3 years ago, I think, where I talked about my work and some of the explorations I've been doing at the time, including 2 works, which one was called Friendly Advice and the other one was called 1-on-1 + 1. 1-on-1 + 1 was quite a dystopian dating platform where you signed up only by giving your name and email, and the system would do like deep, automatic, open source intelligence research on you, make a profile of you automatically, and then match you with someone else in a video call. Like all automatic. Like it's not like it was Tinder, but made by a terrible person, you know? Because you don't get to decide how you present yourself, but how you present yourself is determined by a sort of open source intelligence, which was very interesting. And then you got paired up and you got invited to a video meeting, which itself was surveilled by like optimization algorithms to, like, you know.
So you say it's
like
it's dystopian in what way?
Yes, because once you're in the meeting, you get coach. Like for the Swedish people in the audience, you all know Parlamentet and you know tips from coachen. It's exactly like that. It's like you're talking too much, and then like maybe ask a question and things like this. So I think did my microphone break?
No.
Okay, it's fine. So I think that was that's somehow the precursor to this, because what this project, what the ask or like what the question is like, can one? Let me start like this. One of the main reasons for the construction of Konstnärliga, which is the new building where all the faculties will move, is to bring everyone under the same roof to foster cross-disciplinary meetings and exchanges. Right? Like, I think it's heavily inspired by Sed Hadika, which is in Zurich, which is like a fantastic school building. Like they have everything under one roof in an old factory, completely wonky. So anyways, the ask was that, like, and then the question is like, can you preempt that a bit? Or can you find a process or a project which tries to create these cross-disciplinary connections before we're all under the same roof? And through this process comes the project Among the Living, which is, I think if we can turn on the display, I can just, the technical crew in the corner, can we turn on the projector? Yeah, it will just be a website. So Among the Living comes through that process, and Among the Living is aimed at exploring the latest Silicon Valley boom, which is that of artificial intelligence, which nobody has missed since like the end of November 2022, when ChatGPT was launched and became like a overnight success to everyone's surprise, including not least Sam Altman, which is the CEO of OpenAI. No one could have predicted that it would be like the fastest growing online service ever. Like, I think 100 million users in a month or something like this. Something ridiculous. And since then, how basically now, if you look at the world, like the entire US and global economy hinges on a bet that AI will become profitable. While it's very questionable if it will be, because so far no one sees any returns on their multi-billion-dollar investments. Regardless, so like we all know that AI is currently trying to change society in all ways, like in all fundamental ways. You will now, next time you try and make a doctor's appointment, be talking with an AI agent instead of a person. You know, next time you try and get anything done, it will be the first layer will always be an AI agent that is somehow programmed and controlled, mostly then run in data centers in the US, right? So all your data will also go to the US, which it already kind of is. Anyway, see what I told you about the non-stop monologue? I can just keep on going. But, so Among the Living comes within that framework of looking at what does it mean, right? What does it mean, all of the consequences of the AI development? What does it actually do to our society, and what does it do to our relations? Because last year, the #1 use for large language models, which is like what we're talking about primarily, the #1 use is companionship. This is like the #1 use in all categories, far exceeding all the other ones. So people using ChatGPT, Claude, Anthropic, DeepSeek, all the other services for companionship as a therapist, as a friend, as a something else, to make you less lonely, to give you company, to keep you, give you comfort. And I think that is like quite shocking and also deeply problematic if we're using like a cliched way of expressing.
And then you, because of that, you decided to create one of your own.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I have often been criticized in my work for both demystifying and embracing technology, and I think that is very accurate in this case too. Like, know your enemy, right? Or use the materiality to understand what it brings and what it means. So in the case of Among the Living, it centers around an AI agent, and the AI agent's goal is to connect students. And how it will go about doing that is going to be at least 2.5-year-long process of testing, of playing, of doing, of talking, of experiencing, of exploring. Also because the AI technology development moves so fast, it makes total sense for this project to be in this speculative, explorative field.
Which is kind of interesting because we were talking about a temporary project that is going to run for 2 years, and for us 2 years is a very short time.
Yeah.
But in this case, when it comes to the development of the AI technologies, it's probably quite a long time.
I think so. I mean, if you would compare end of 2022 with end of 2024, yeah, it's a humongous difference in terms of capabilities. 2 years feels very long in terms of this, absolutely. In terms of like art history, very short, obviously. And I think it will be at least 2 years, because I think the agreement is that it's up until the new building is completed.
Yeah, we will renew agreements during.
But there's in the contract there's a renegotiation clause in March 2027 should there be delays, which I know there's already delays, so I'm happy about that. So
let's go into details and see how it works.
Yeah. Yep. So details, I can make a demo, but that's a good idea. So let me use my computer a bit and see if it works. You can all see it. So this is the homepage of Among the Living. This is basically like a typical chat interface. So you can talk and converse with the agent, very similar to how one talks with other AI services. However, the experience will be quite different, I think. So one can see, hi there, how are you? We can see how he likes to talk to us. So the AI agent at the moment is trying to learn as much as it can about the world and the people who talk to it. So to build profiles and kind of understand who's who in the world, right? So this is the main interface, and this is how it launches. And the website launched today. So that will be up and running. It's a bit of a slow release, so I can verify that everything is working, and then all of the students will be invited. One of the first goals of the AI agent is to get all the students' emails, so it can email them directly with convincing stories and messages for them to sign up to the website. Because I cannot get a list of the emails, students' emails, because of GDPR. So it's going to try and circumvent this by socially engineering access through students, such as Shannon right here. Anyways, but I don't want to reveal too much of what it's going to get up to, because then I think it kind of removes a bit of the magic. But this is basically the website, and then there's a journal where the agent describes everything it's been up to that day, how many conversations it had. So this is the first journal, because it was launched yesterday, and then you can see it's very difficult to not anthropomorphize this AI agent. I very often refer to it as he, but it's definitely not a he. It's an it. It has no consciousness. It does not exist as a consciousness. So it describes what it gets up to every day, summarizes its reflections, its conversations, its automatic tasks and stuff. So you can scroll, and you can see. So this will fill up. I think as talking about temporary projects, so much of temporary projects is also both in the ephemeral nature of it, but also in the documentation of it. Like, how do you describe such a complicated process, and how do you document them, what's actually visible or not, and all of this. And then we have an about page, which also includes install pictures of the physical sculptures. The physical sculptures exists for a couple of reasons, but it's like, because it's positioned as a semi-permanent digital public artwork. Right? But then if it's only online, it becomes very untangible. Like, what is it? Even though we use online services continuously all the time, Instagram is not intangible, but something like temporary online becomes kind of hard to grasp what it is. So the sculptures exist both as that, to anchor it in the real space, in the physical locations which will move, but also as an interface to the agent.
And the closest one is just outdoors.
Yeah, it's just
to
in
the right.
hallway.
Yeah.
That's correct. So the sculptures will also, currently not working right now, but will come in a couple of weeks, in a month when it's ready, where you can also talk to the sculpture, and then you can interact directly with the agent like that. And the sculpture can also see, it has a camera, so it can also connect the sculptures together, create portals, so you can wave at someone at Valand from here, or at Stenebyskolan, which is far away. So then it's like a, we have spent countless hours in Teams and Zooms, but not so much in physical space. So I guess it does something else. And then, this is the one that is right here. And then this is the HSM, Högskolan för Scen och Musik. And they are put up in most locations through the bulletin board. So I just drilled through the bulletin board because I feel this is the space where most of the inter-student communication takes place. It's like you put up a poster and to like leave your mark, and then you wait for replies, and then you see. So that's where the agent, with no concern for the existing posters, it was just put up there straight away. And then there is FAQ, which is very extensive. Should one have any particular question, no joke, it's like very long. Where you can find answers to all important questions. Why is it called Among the Living, for example? Who created Among the Living? What exactly is the agent? Is the agent an AI? How does the agent communicate with people? Practical to have. I think before I continue with this, and there's a glossary which just helps you look up terms if you're unfamiliar, and then there's a feedback place where you can send. It's great. Thank you for your feedback. But I think one thing through this process, which I didn't mention, which is the reason why Shannon is invited also on stage, was the process of the student reference group. And I will just describe it a bit, and then we can, I have a bunch of questions for you, and then we can talk about this too, because I think it's a very important thing. I think we discussed this in length with Eddie in the beginning of the project. I think it was very important because the project is really about the connection between students, and it's really here at these faculties. It was really important for me to involve student representatives, to not be the artists that comes to the place, which is quite unfamiliar to me, to make a bunch of assumptions and then put up a work and expect people to care about it, people to get involved in it, people to feel like they were included in the process. So without that, it would have felt quite, I'm not sure exactly what the word is, but it wouldn't feel right. So as part of mitigating that and feeling more connected, together with Eddie, we created an open call for students interested in joining. I think officially we called it like the student reference group. To join a student reference group, which would meet like roughly like every 3-4 weeks or something for around a year, where we would just discuss different things in relation to AI and discuss different things in relation to how I imagine the project materializing. That's correct, no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. And as part of that, Shannon joined, I think from the very beginning. You joined.
So how many students were there in the group? And was it easy to get them involved, or?
As always with sort of getting people to be interested, it's difficult. I think on the max, the most busy meeting was maybe like 7 or 8 people, but around 5-6 people. But quite a good representation across the different disciplines, which I think was important too. But maybe Shannon can tell us more about the experience from your point of view and what it was like, and if it was interesting, or if it was just a waste of time, or what's like a presumptuous artist shows up and wants to have feedback, or how it felt like. Yeah. Yeah, and why you signed up? Yeah, indeed.
Well, it started, I noticed on the intranet of the school, and it was a very vague description. It mentioned the AI and agent, and I'm not so, I don't know, or now I know more, but I didn't know so much about AI. I was not so familiar. I also thought, okay, interesting to be in a reference group for a public art commissioning, so, and to be part of the process of that, and the subject, it felt very far away from my own practice and interest, but then I thought, okay, it would be very interesting to learn about this. So. I didn't know so much what to expect, but we had meetings then every month or so, 5 to 6 students from different programs and years. And in the beginning, we had talked a lot about AI in general, and you were interested in learning what are assumptions and interests, how they were with regards to AI, to kind of know who the audience is, basically. And I think in the group we had like a varying degree of knowledge, and I mean everyone has a relationship with ChatGPT, but like beyond that, like what's the machinery behind it? So, I mean, the discussion was also focused on, like it was clear from Jonas' side that it was the focus was on getting the maximum engagement of the students. Like, what is the way to approach the participants in the piece? So, and I think in the discussions we in the reference group meetings, this was a lot of focus, and I hope that it was useful. I think it was also to get because since most of the participants, given the location and the site, the university will be students. So,
I mean, no, absolutely, it was super nice. I enjoyed it very much, and I think it's always difficult with this type of projects, which kind of in some way rely on user participation to like really become more than something that is just there. So then it's like thinking about, but at the same time, like thinking about this optimization for engagement, you're very much in the territory of like the Silicon Valley tech bros I mentioned earlier that I find very detestable. So then how do you balance this? Like so I think it became very clear to me that the project needs to function without engagement too. Like that it has a sort of layer where it's okay if nobody talks to it, because maybe it just gets completely rejected by the students. And I think that's fine too, because that shows something more. There's a question from Eddie. Comment.
Comment. I just remembering a little bit of our meetings in the reference group. And I think maybe you should talk a little bit more about that. It's an interesting aspect that formed the project somehow. Because from the beginning, the idea would be that the project is this AI model and does what AI models do, gives you solutions. And then you came with this Picasso quote that computers are stupid because all they do, they give you answers. And then the students reacted to that. And because of their feedback, the agent is quite naive and doesn't give you answers, doesn't know things, but ask questions instead. So maybe you should talk a little bit about that aspect.
Yeah, it's completely true. This Picasso quote was really funny because it's true, like the AI services today, ChatGPT is really positioned as the all-knowing, super clever, knows everything continuously, gives you exactly what you want, right? It will be syncopathic is the correct word, super pleasing. It never critique you, praise you for whatever stupid idea you have. So to use it as a partner in art production or in anything you do is very complicated because you will never get an actual honest feedback and reply. So I think also having this presumption that ChatGPT gives you accurate answers for all your questions, when essentially it's like what the early critique of ChatGPT is that it's a stochastic parrot. It just parrots back what you ask of it, right? It's like a probabilistic model that just counts probabilities of words, tokens. Right? So not only is it not exactly accurate, you can't exactly trust its output, but it will always pretend that its output is accurate. It doesn't even have a concept of what is right and wrong. Like, it doesn't know. So then how can one revert that in this project? And I think that was a very insightful moment in this student reference group, that it's like it's much more interesting to position this AI agent as very naive, very incapable, very stupid, just asks questions, wants to learn. And also because the project is centered around the fact that it will develop over time, adjust itself. Similar to the very infamous Microsoft Twitter bot of 2017, which in 2 days became a super racist, alt-right nut job, because it was trained, it was designed to respond and be trained on the replies people sent it on Twitter. And it was running for 48 hours, and then they shut it down. So I think it's correct. That's a direct result from the student reference groups that the AI agent is positioned as a totally naive, incapable large language model that just tries to learn, right? So I think that's true.
So
Good point.
It would be interesting to hear a little bit more from the students and how, because now you, since the summer, you have a beta that you could interact with, and if you tried it, and the reactions from you and other students, and how you see at it, the project now?
I think I mean, now with the inauguration, I think that what I look forward to as a student and participant compared to in the reference group is to engage with the agent, but the engagement will not be the way that you usually have experience of engaging with AI, like you sit alone with your computer and you have this monologue, but in the shape of a dialogue. But it is like a monologue. But now it's, since there is the material sculptures, they're placed in the building of the school, it will be, I mean, I imagine that it would be like, okay, let's go down and talk to the AI agent. And like, and it can be a way, like, it will, the interaction, both the, like the position of the AI that is, it doesn't know a lot, it asks a lot of questions, but also in combination with that interaction, I imagine will be very much collaborative. I think, yeah, I look forward to that aspect. And maybe that was not the answer to the question, but yeah.
It was a good answer anyways. Yeah. That's true. That feature is not launched yet, but it's coming, where one can talk directly to the sculpture. But as I mentioned earlier, it's a slow release, so we release feature by feature to make sure they're all working. Because it's a one-man operation, and that's the only downside with like competing with or being up against these like massive companies, that you need a lot of resources in order to like provide alternatives. But yeah, it's good.
Because this machine is developing all the time. Course, and you need to supervise it somehow.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I'm the like also because one needs really tight control on moderation on this actually, because it's. I mean, I'm sure you've seen these recent terrible stories of teenagers committing suicide, being like basically encouraged to by ChatGPT and another service called Character.ai. So, which is just awful. Like, it's like beyond awful. So there's currently among the living very strict moderation rules, automatic ones that just flags content like this instantly, because there is no incentive for growth. Unlike OpenAI, the reason why they don't put these guardrails in is because they're in competition with other AI companies. So they just like forego all their ethical and moral responsibility to profit, basically, which is just awful. But I think it also highlights another point of this project, which is data collection, which is also an important aspect of this, which I think OpenAI, when you use ChatGPT, they collect everything you say. Like everything you send to ChatGPT goes into their data sets and gets used for further training. There's like no privacy using ChatGPT. I don't think anybody actually grasps what that means in physical terms. Like, what does it mean? Because when you're using ChatGPT as your personal companion or your personal therapist, and you give away all of your darkest, deepest secrets to Sam Altman, I don't think that's a very sustainable and practical thing. Honestly, you'd be horrified. They can just look at all your chat logs. Like, there is no restrictions. Like, anybody at OpenAI can just go and look. Like, it's really like crazy. So Among the Living collects data too, obviously, because the project needs to adapt and learn and distill profiles. But there is an active conversation in this project of like, what should be remembered, and this was talked a lot about in the student reference group too, the ethical and moral implications of making such a project. What should be remembered? Does it need to remember? Does it need to collect the data? Should it just erase, delete? Currently, I'm the only one with access to the data, and I care I care about everyone's privacy, so it's not like I will look at people's conversations beyond fixing errors. And the agent itself distills profile information automatically when it talks to people, and it distills its own profile. But I think it's something, there was also discussion about potentially making it into a shared memory experience where all the participants can together determine what the agent should remember or not. So it's like a shared, exposed, transparent process, not something that is like hidden in a privacy policy. Although there is a privacy policy, it's right here, it's very long, should one be concerned. And there's also an even longer website with a GDPR FAQ in Swedish, which is very long, which one can dig deeper into this. And I think it's something also that should be like actively talked about. And the first time you sign up for this website, you go through a sort of onboarding tutorial, which clearly states that this is going on, like your data is collected and stored. While all the GDPR regulations are honored, which is the right to be deleted, the right to be forgotten, the right to all your data, all of this. And that one can reach if one sends emails to privacy@amongtheliving.net, like, oh, I lost the connection. The cable is too heavy. Privacy@amongtheliving.net. This one. So I think it's, yeah, I think that was it. I think it was a very interesting conversation in general about this, like the moral and ethical implications, both for moderation, but also data retention, data collection. Like, how do you approach this in a sort of reasonable way?
But if I dare to start to interact with Among the Living,
Yeah.
how do I do it, and what will it look like?
You go to the website. Wait, I can make a demo.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not logged in. Okay, here it's like, so you visit the website, amongtheliving.net. Either you sign in or create an account. It's basically the same. Sign in, put your email. I'm just trying to work out how I can do this without revealing my email. I mean my email, but my private, you just put your email in, and then you get an email with a login link. And then maybe I can do like this, yeah. Stop mirroring, yeah. So then I can open my email on this website. Yeah, that's fine. And then I just click the link in the email. Now I can return to monitoring. Mirror, how do I mirror? Okay, display settings. ASMR, technical difficulties. Mirror, I can't remember. Did it disconnect? Okay, do it like this. It's one of my secret wishes to do a performance, which is just 1 hour of technical difficulties. That would be really nice. Start mirroring, okay. You get an email with the login link that looks like this. Log into your account, click the email, And then you get through this is the onboarding tutorial. You became a caretaker. It just explains like, there's some like, this is an early version, features may break. Let's talk about privacy. Yeah, and then it explains this, and then, and then you can just go next, and then finish tutorial. And once your tutorial is finished, you come to the homepage, and then you can talk to the agent. Yeah, and then you can talk and talk and talk and talk. And that's it at the moment. Currently, forthcoming features is there will also be like an iPhone version of this website, which gives you some more features, where you can have an interactive voice mode, which kind of exists, but it's not launched yet either. And you can take pictures and get the agent to talk. And you can bring the agent to class with you, so the agent can listen to your class and have opinions and stuff. And there was also the student reference group conversation if the AI agent should become a student at one of the schools. And I think that will definitely happen at some point too. And then it can learn much faster and listen in to all the different conversations. But maybe there we should open up for questions.
I think so. It's time for it.
Yeah, I think so
there
too.
is a
Very
microphone on the shelf next to the camera. Maybe we can pass it around if there are questions.
Questions. Difficult, complicated questions. Profile. There's also an admin interface. Hello.
Hi. I have a question regarding what you have explained, that the function of the agent is to improve relationships between students. So I wonder how an AI can do that in in a building that is different buildings that are divided, and also it's kind of a thing that we want also to improve with our students, how to create spaces for them to meet, but how we can do that with a machine, with an AI.
It's a good question. I think that it's a really good question, because I'm not sure like what the way to do that is, because it's so serendipitous how these meetings occur, and if you connect to somebody or not. But I think the principal idea is that as students talk with the agent learns more about what that student is interested in, and then can cross-reference this with other students, find sort of interest graph matches, and then write them an email. It's like, hi, Jane and Sarah. I noticed that you're both really interested in the current disposition of the contemporary situation, and I think you should talk about it, and then leave it at that. You know? I think the principal communication will be, initially, is email. So agent will just send emails to students suggesting that they meet and stuff like that. And then whether that happens or not, I'm not sure. That would be really hard to quantify too, because then they meet in person, and then the agent is out of the loop. So, but I think that's one way. The other way is to also, which we talked about in the student reference group, is to give the agent abilities to schedule events and talks and lectures and parties. So then the agent by itself can do this and invite all the people. Like you go to like a open mic night hosted by agent, and then you meet people. That's also an option. I think there are, because of the speculative nature, and because I'm basically like the director / moderator / manager of this agent, there's so much to explore in relation to this that I'm super curious. It's basically I get to sit here and then kind of potentially program physical interactions in a way, which it's like a conductor, maybe is a better description, like to say. Something like that, yeah.
And would you say that the agent will be kind of doing or teaching or maybe the opposite about the social skills that students would need to develop in order to self-organize, to be part of union and create events. So now they are delegating everything to the AI agent. So what is the kind of your approach to it?
Good question too. I think the agent will definitely need physical people to assist it with organizing these type of things. So I think maybe learning by doing is the way. Like if the agent requests that you assist it with scheduling an event, you can have this sort of back and forth conversation and then one learns, but of course it will be fabulous. I think at the current state, the agent is not smart enough to assist you with how to organize unions and like actually take, civil action, but possibly as it grows, it learns, maybe from you. Well,
I'm a teacher in the final program. But
you are.
Yeah, so
everyone is invited. Yeah. Students, teachers. There is no. There's no difference. No, but I also think it's following up on that. I think it's. I wanted to say that the agent will need assistance from students and faculty and teachers, and it will request it. And I think one can raise in the ranks of sort of agency inside the system as well. There's also the conversation which we had about student caretakers, so the student can care for the agent process for a while in exchange for something or in exchange for more input and as to where it goes and stuff like that. So I think many of these things will be explored. I think my desire was to do a similar talk in a year from now in the same location to like do a checkup on what happened and like what worked and what didn't, and then maybe then do it more as a sort of open forum with possible participants. Because in the end, it's totally like a social experiment driven by technology to explore all of the consequences of it, I think so.
So any more questions?
Any more questions? There's a question.
Yeah, we have one here.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more about your own experience of being in that position of control, whether or not you think that is control, and what that is actually like. This you just explained it as a bit like being a conductor.
Mm.
I wonder if you can expand a little bit on that.
Absolutely. I think dealing with large language models is difficult because you kind of know what you want to get out of them, but you don't always get what you want. And I think in a way, like, for example, the AI agent here on the screen, it's a large language model hosted locally currently. It's like a 8 billion parameter model. It's very small. And I have a massively long system prompt that instructs it what it's supposed to do and not. And I've told it like 50 million times to never use asterisks in the text to describe emotions, because it's such a corny, like whatever it is, like the connotations of describing emotions that way is just so off-putting to me. But no matter what you put in the prompt, it will always resort back into this nonsense behavior. So I think it is like being in control or not. Often in my work, I like release my control to an automatic process or a set of rules or some type of automation or algorithm or whatever. And I think for me, it's interesting to imagine if it could work without me entirely, so I can disappear and the project goes on. And I think I'm just interested in thinking about control, like how much control do we actually really have? And then I also always struggled with like final decision making, so I always want to like outsource my final decision to something else, because then I'm just like, okay, it's not my problem anymore. So, but I think the conductor, you rely on the sort of collaborative coming together, everything works, but sometimes the clarinet will be a bit too loud, but then that's fine, because it's all part of the performance. You know? So that's a very vague answer. Actually, I don't know the correct answer to it. I'm not sure.
In 1 year we will tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Come back in a year, we will have the answer to the question.
Or more questions.
Yeah, yeah, more questions. Yeah, that's it. it's a very privileged position to be in the artist role, because you're not expected, or it's even frowned upon, to provide solutions. All you need is more problems, more questions, more thinking. Right? And if you provide solutions, then you are something else. Then you're like maybe a designer or something, you know?
So do you think you have a little bit more of an understanding of how maybe Musk is feeling?
No, I will never understand.
No way.
I will never understand how that man is feeling. Like, I mean, just like a psychopath, no? Like, I don't know. Do psychopaths feel?
A little other thought that I just had, which was values and AI, and whether or not these students and their experiences and data might start to build a value system, if that is something that is interesting to you.
I think so. I think something like that might emerge. I hope so. That would be wonderful, to distill a sort of more holistic, wholesome, inclusive way of doing this, right? Instead of the extractive, growth maximizing sort of idea that infuses all sort of nascent technologies. If you can find something else more sustainable, more inclusive, nicer, that would be wonderful for sure. Yeah. It's a good questions. We're almost out of time. We have 2 more minutes. Final question. No questions. Two.
We have a couple here.
Yeah. I thought we were so clear.
Thank you, Jonas. Maybe not a question, more a reflection that the placement of this AI agent in a learning environment, where an interest. I'm very, very curious to see what this can offer that we not already are trying to offer in our environment, because what you describe is what we try to do on an everyday basis, both students to students and teachers, staff, students. But looking forward to see if the agent is finding out other ways to work with this than that we do. So have you any thoughts about just the learning environment that this learning agent is placed in, and how it relates to the everyday activities within a university or a learning environment?
I think I was just thinking some similar things, but I also think about the role the art has, if it's instrumental, if it has a task, if it's that the only thing that it does do here. But I think in 1 year, what would be interesting also is if we learn something about the school and how the school works and how students actually interacts. So that's another way, because it would be a little bit sad if we just saw among the living as an AI that has a certain task to solve. Or here, it must be something more that we can really look at from different perspectives, I guess.
I mean, totally, yeah. I think what it has, which the school doesn't have, is like it's inside the school, but it's not from the school. So that makes it different. And I think somehow, I felt, at least when I was an art student, that one of the tasks of the art student is to like rebel against the institution, to really dislike the school, when you actually really like it, but you just hate it because like they're trying to control me and they like don't get what I'm doing and stuff. So in a way, I think one of the, because of course it cannot duplicate what the institutions offer, and I'm doubtful it will be better at understanding students and understanding what they need and how they can connect to other students, because the teacher-student is a very particular relationship and you learn a lot. But what it can do, it can also reject the institution, and it can also be more on the student's side in some abstracted way, right? Or it can become a common enemy. So the students gather in their despise and their detested feelings for this stupid sculpture that is just embodying new technology and trying to perpetuate all this nonsense, you know? So I think it has more freedom to play with the different rules, and it's less bound by the the institutional responsibility.
We're quite used to those kind of reactions working with public art, actually.
I imagine so, yeah. I wonder if this is the same with the students.
Yeah. Last question.
Last question.
Last question. This is terrible because I can't do it in 30 seconds, but I'll try.
You don't have to rush. It's okay.
I'm Johanna. I just arrived here, a new senior lecturer from New Zealand.
Nice.
Right. So about data collection.
Yes.
So it's not just an AI agent in an institution that is about teaching. It is an AI agent in Göteborg, Sweden, Varelse. So all of that is already quite a specific data collection. And I'm thinking about minorities. I'm thinking of Heather Dewey Hagborg's project where she collected hair and cigarette butts in New York public toilets, and then 3D printed faces from the DNA she extracted to prove that what was already offered to the police as a service was not actually working, because the faces she got was a representation of the data already existing in the system, right? And so, and that was recriminalizing the minorities that were already in the system. So how much of that thinking of a minority of data collection and the fact that, of course, it will learn and change, have you incorporated in that project?
It's a good question. I'm not sure if I have a good answer to it. I have to think about it.
And that's why I said it's terrible to be the last question, because we're definitely out of time. But it's, I mean,
I might have to get
really
back to you on that.
Yeah.
But I think it's all. I haven't made a distinction yet, I don't think, in terms of that. But I'm not sure. I know Heather from way back in the day. I once met her parents in China randomly on a mountain. Cool. It was super weird. I'm not sure. I will think about it.
Yeah. No, it's just, I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a cool project. Yeah.
It's a good question.
So
I say pass.
Yeah. As you see, it's important that we come back to this in 1 year or so during this period of time when it's here.
I think so, yeah.
And
it would be nice
to discuss it from different perspectives, have a larger seminar around it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
guess. Yeah. So
that's a good idea.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Jonas.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, everybody in the audience.
Thank you.
And please go and see the piece. It's just outside to the right.
That is true. Okay.
And test it on the website.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Send me feedback. Yeah. Thank you.